The last letter. Marcus had always been the type to notice things others missed. The way sunlight caught in someone's hair, the exact shade of blue in a stranger's eyes, the tremor in a voice when someone was about to cry. That's how he noticed Elena, not because she was the most beautiful woman in the coffee shop, but because she was reading the same book he'd been obsessing over. She had a worn copy of The Night Circus, and her fingers traced the edges of the pages like she was afraid they might disappear. He sat down at her table without asking. "It's better the second time around," he said. She looked up, and in that moment, Marcus felt something shift inside his chest, the kind of shift that changes the whole geography of a person's heart. "Better because you know what's coming, okay?" she asked, a slight smile playing at her lips. "No," he said. "Better because you noticed what you missed the first time." Her name was Elena Morales. She was a translator, fluent in 5 languages, with dreams of traveling to places that existed mostly in books. She had a small apartment with too many plants and a cat named Dostoevsky. She laughed at his terrible jokes. She cried in movies. She believed in the kind of love that burned bright enough to light up the dark. Marcus gave her all of it. His mornings, his evenings, his quiet afternoons. He learned her routines and created reasons to be part of them. He learned that she liked her coffee with too much cream, that she sang off-key in the shower, that she talked to her plants like they were old friends. He learned to love not just her, but the entire universe she carried inside her. For 2 years, they were the kind of couple people envied. It's the kind who held hands walking down the street. It's the kind who could sit in comfortable silence. It's the kind who made love feel like coming home. On a rain-soaked evening in April, Marcus took Elena to the overlook that looked out over the entire city. He had the ring in his pocket for 3 months. He'd planned the speech 100 different ways, but when he got down on one knee, all he could say was, "I want to keep noticing things about you for the rest of my life." She said yes through tears that might have been rain or heartbreak, or both. She said yes like she meant it, like it was a vow that would outlast time itself. The wedding was planned for the following September. Everything was coming together perfectly, too perfectly, Marcus would later think. In movies, that's always when things begin to fall apart, okay? Was the opportunity she'd always dreamed of, a position at the UN in Geneva, working as a simultaneous translator for the Security Council, okay? It was the kind of job that came once in a lifetime. "We'll make it work," Marcus said, and he meant it. "Long distance is just for a while. We'll be together soon." But Elena's hesitation hung in the air between them like a question neither of them wanted to answer. "We could get married before I go," she suggested, quietly. "Quick ceremony. It's just us and a few people. Or we could have the wedding we planned," Marcus said, trying to keep the fear from his voice. "In September, when you're back for a few weeks." She didn't argue, but something shifted that night, subtle as continental drift, tension that hadn't been there before. The distance was harder than either of them expected. Video calls at odd hours, time zones that made intimacy impossible. Elena's voice on the phone sounded different, further away than Geneva should have allowed. She talked about colleagues, okay? About this new circle of people Marcus didn't know, okay? About how much she was changing. "I'm still me," she said when he expressed his fears. "I'm still the same person who loves you." But people weren't static things, Marcus learned. They were rivers, always flowing towards some distant sea. And sometimes the people you loved flowed in different directions. After 8 months, Elena came home for 2 weeks. Marcus had planned perfectly romantic dinners, trips to their favorite places. It's the kind of devotion that was supposed to remind her of what they had. But she felt like a stranger, wearing his girlfriend's face. On their last night together, after he fell asleep, Elena sat at the kitchen table and wrote him a letter. He found it in the morning, propped against the coffee maker, addressed in her careful handwriting. "My love, I don't know how to say this without destroying you, and that's how I know I have to say it anyway. You are the most beautiful person I have ever known, not because of what you look like, but because of who you are. You notice things. You love completely. You give everything, and that's exactly why I have to let you go. These past 8 months, I've realized something I was afraid to face. I've spent so much of my life dreaming about becoming someone, about getting to the places I wanted to be, about changing my life. And then I met you, and suddenly I was happy in ways I'd never expected. I didn't have to become, I could just be. With you, I was enough. But that's the problem. I was enough. Too much enough. I realized I've spent our entire relationship watching myself through your eyes instead of looking at the world with my own. Every decision I made with you in mind. Even this job, the job I've wanted for 10 years, I was already thinking about how to fit it around you, how to make it work for us, to choose both, okay? But I don't want to spend the rest of my life choosing, okay? I want to be chosen by my own life, not choose how to arrange my life around someone else's needs. I want to be selfish and messy and uncertain. I want to make mistakes that are entirely my own. You made loving you so easy, and that terrifies me, because it means I might never leave. I might stay in that comfortable place forever, and wake up at 40 wondering who I was beneath all the ways I loved you. I can't do that to you, and I can't do it to me. The truth is, you deserve someone who chooses you as their final answer, not their first refuge. You deserve someone who loves you because they've built a life they're proud of, not someone who loves you because you're easier than building one. I have to go. I have to fail. I have to find out who I am when you're not there to see me. Hey, and you deserve to meet someone you can grow with, not someone you have to make smaller to fit inside your life, okay? Will always love the man who noticed me in a coffee shop. But maybe that's exactly why I have to leave. Yours, until goodbye, Elena. Marcus never married. He did what Elena asked. He moved forward, built a life he was proud of, and eventually, the wound stopped hurting quite so much. Keys saw her once, years later, at an airport in a city that wasn't home to either of them. She was laughing with a group of people he didn't know, holding court like someone who had finally figured out how to take up the space she deserved. She looked at him and smiled a sad, gentle smile that said everything that didn't need to be said. She had chosen herself, and in the end, that was a kind of love story too. It just didn't have the ending he'd written in his heart. And maybe that was the most honest kind of ending there was. Two people who loved each other exactly enough to let each other go. She's doing what she needs to do to survive her own life. Marcus is heartbroken, not because of betrayal, but because he's being rejected by something he can't fight, another person's legitimate need to exist on their own terms. If you enjoyed the story, do well to share, like, and subscribe for more interesting stories.